Years ago, when Mystic was a community where the residents shopped downtown and before mass tourism, you didn't need a sign to find the Mystic Noank Library. But since it's become an attraction and is now a celebrity, you need a sign to point you up the hill. As you can see, we're at the Mystic Noank Library and we're going to take a tour of these beautiful grounds. Over there used to be a small bungalow, a very adorable bungalow, and apparently the woman who lived there donated it to the library. But I don't know exactly the facts about it. It was not kept up, it fell into disrepair, and they demolished it. And I think that's a little strange in the historic district of Mystic, what houses are allowed to be demolished and what are not. It's a beautifully sloping lawn, as you can see. This is the natural pitch of the slope. So let's take a look at the building. Here you can see the chimney, which they've been working on for a long, long time. It seems like they're always working on the chimney. It leaks apparently. So the scaffolding is there, and it seems an interminable job to fix that chimney. Don't know when they're ever going to get it done. And here is one of the patios. I do not know when this was built, but I do believe that it was definitely not here when I was a kid. You can see that this is a slope, an incline, and they call it steep. This is not a steep slope. This is a gradual slope, and it's a very lovely slope. And it is in keeping with the principles of the 19th century landscape architects, including the designer of Central Park, Frederick Law Olmsted, who believed in the genius of a place, which meant its natural contours were to be left as is, and the landscaping should fit in and utilize the beautiful contours of the natural landscape. What do they want to do in this library park project? They want to level the lawn, absolutely level it. And you know what that's going to require? A lot of excavation and moving a lot of dirt around to get rid of the slope, essentially. This, to me, is a very dirty business and a very inappropriate business. They are in keeping with the mansion, these 19th century grounds. A very dense, concretized urban park is not going to be in keeping with the mansion. And it is going to be a dissonance, and it should not be done. And especially the leveling of the slope. I would like to state right now that I am completely against this project, and I am not only against it, I am heartbroken by this project. This is the historic district. I believe this lawn should be kept as it is, and I want to say that we have been coming to this library for generations. My great-grandfather came to Mystic in 1875. My mother came here, and when she was 14 years old, she writes about the library in this journal. This is my mother's journal from 1934. She was 14 years old. And on May 22nd, if I can find it, she made the following entry. May 22nd, 1934. Violet and me bought a fudgicle in Mooney's before walking up Baptist Hill. It was so hot, we sat on the library lawn for quite a while. And so this lawn has been part of our landscape for generations. And that's why the loss of it is really, really a blow. It may not be for these newcomers. They come in here, maybe they've lived here 5-10 years. They don't have that kind of attachment. They don't have personal history with this lawn. But it's not just because of my personal history that I want this lawn to be saved. It's because it's in keeping with the mansion, and it should not become an urban park. Lovely, lovely wildflowers. The shadows are beautiful this time of day. And you can see there's a lot of beautiful big trees. The biggest ones are in the front, which we will go to now. Here's the rotting stump of one of the large old growth trees that fell down in a windstorm about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I actually came and took pictures of it when it was down, and then of course they cut it up and took it away. But the thing is, these old trees, there's very few of them left. In fact, there was a double row of trees when I was a kid along the sidewalk there, as I remember. I may be wrong about a few details, but little by little, the trees are disappearing and not being planted again. So let's go up here. I remember as a teenager swinging from the limbs of these trees. You can see right here, this is where a limb was apparently. So that's not, that means that there's rot going on inside the tree, which of course makes me fear that it is going to be declared rotten at the core and cut down, with so few of these trees remaining. Now with this project that they want to do to create a library park, as they call it, I fear that they will fell these old trees. And of course this is not, doesn't look promising. Okay, let's go to the next big tree. I think this is the one I used to swing on. Yeah, look at that. Look up there. Another giant hole where a limb was, apparently. And I put my hand in there. Hope we don't get bitten. It's all wet in there. So, I'm not an arborist, but I know that for things like that, trees have been condemned. They will cut down a tree because they say that there's rot, interior rot, and they will cut it down. So I don't feel too secure in the thought that these trees might remain in this project they want to do. There was another old growth tree here. It is gone, and they planted nothing. So, and this seems to be typical of Mystic these days. Something comes down, they don't make any attempt to plant something in its place. Now imagine when they put in all of the concrete they're going to put in here. They're going to do a wraparound sidewalk. They're going to do concrete patios that they call open classrooms, outside classrooms. A lot of this greenery you see now is going to be replaced by concrete to make a park. Now, nowadays, usually park means getting rid of greenery. Is that really what we want, to get rid of greenery? When I was a kid, we used to try to climb on this ledge, okay? We would get up here and we would start climbing, holding on to that, whatever you call it, that stripe, that band of stone has cut facets where you can kind of hold on with the tips of your fingers. And I used to inch out along this, getting, maybe halfway, and then I got nervous and jumped down because it got higher and higher and I didn't want to fall. You can see the old flagstones. I rather doubt that they're going to put flagstones in their project. This mansion was built in the late 1900s, and its grounds are typical of the grounds of 19th century buildings like this. Therefore, I believe that these grounds should be preserved in the state that they are in as an act of historical preservation. I do not believe that this lawn should be cut up and made into outdoor classrooms. So this is the front patio. This is one of two patios. Been here quite a while, and I think this is sufficient. Can you imagine having several more of these all over the lawn to serve as outdoor classrooms? And that is why they want to level the lawn. But they have two patios. I think that should suffice. See here the limb that's been cut off. So these old trees, a lot of times the limbs get cut off to prolong their life. And I think their lives should be prolonged. I think that trees in the historic district that are old growth trees should be considered historical entities that should be preserved and protected. Now back here, this is the new entrance, and again, I don't have any dates on when this was built. It's been there quite a long time, not when I was a child, of course. And they built a wing onto the mansion to expand the library. Apparently the library now feels it's not big enough for the programs it wants to have, and especially in the warm months, it wants to convert the entire lawn into outdoor classroom spaces and a concert venue. I want to point out that there were some trees here. I don't know if I can find the stumps. Yes, there's a stump. Okay, so there's a tree stump there, as you can see. That was cut down in very recent years. And I've been dismayed all along at the amount of trees that have come down here. I do not know how many they are going to fell in order to carry out the project they want to carry out, but it is very distressing. Mystic is not a city, it's a village, and supposedly it has a historic district, at least on the Groton side. I think they should do a better job of maintaining the historic character of this town. Back to the area where the house was demolished, which gives them a lot more space. I don't see why they couldn't make this back part their outdoor classroom and leave the rest of it alone. This very large space was not really visible before they demolished the bungalow, but now that the bungalow's gone and I believe there's been vegetation cleared, it really does look like quite a large space. Certainly would serve as their outdoor venue for a concert or for classrooms outdoors. There's no need to go beyond this and destroy the lawn. This would suffice. Over here, this is something relatively new. Picnic tables. And yes, a lovely place to have a picnic, to have an outdoor classroom. Why doesn't this suffice? Why do they have to completely change the nature of this property? A 19th century property where the grounds should be just as significant as the building. They think that the building is the significant historical artifact and that the grounds are just nothing. The grounds are the context. If you take something out of its context, you are basically altering the nature of that thing. As you can see, this is not really a large property. So imagine with all the concrete structures, it is definitely going to be reduced greatly. It is not going to have at all the same character. Now the bells are ringing, it's 6 o'clock, and we have more things to say. One of them is that they're going to bring in bulldozers. I want you to imagine what it's going to be like. I want you to imagine what it's going to be like when the bulldozers come in here and disembowel the earth, digging everything up. Digging up this lawn, as far as I'm concerned, is going to traumatize whatever plants they decide to save, and it's going to traumatize the neighborhood, and it's definitely going to traumatize the people who have been here for generations, like myself. This is a terrible thing to be doing to these grounds. Someone said that the library is being forced to do this project, to make this wraparound sidewalk and these hard structures, but they're not being forced. The fact is, the American with Disabilities Act does require universal access on new construction. Well, I say they don't need to convert this lawn into classrooms, and therefore it is not an issue. Yes, make the back space where the bungalow was and where those picnic tables are, make that into a classroom and make it universally accessible as it should be. I want you to imagine this. Imagine all of this being bulldozed, excavated, and leveled. It beggars the imagination what it will look like after it has been leveled.